Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday. So if you are new here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin first this morning. We've got an interesting start to the weekend. We all know that it is Friday, so we will have the CME gap opening later today, and we will be discussing that later in today's stream, looking at the chart and seeing what could happen over the weekend before hopefully another bullish week next week. So let's take a look at the prices anyway. So Bitcoin is currently sat at $29,793, up only 0.57% within the last 24 hours. So it has started to calm down slightly. We do have a really strong level of resistance at that $31,000 level, which is holding strong right now. So we will be talking about that at the end of today's stream and analysing the price of Bitcoin there. We also have Ethereum sat at 1,875 today, up another 1.61%. So Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. We'll take a look at that chart at the end of today's stream too. Lots to discuss today. Let's see what the biggest gainers are today. So we have Stacks up again, another 9.25%, Miner up 7.17%, SHIB up 6.16%, and Flow up 3.64%. So not a bad time to be in the markets right now. Everything's looking pretty green and everybody in the chat is particularly happy this morning. Good morning to everybody in the live chat on today's stream. If you are new here or if you are tuning in from Twitter, please make sure to head over to our YouTube at Crypto Saving Expert. Give us a like, give us a follow, and press that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's take a look at what's going on in the markets anyway. We have a lot to discuss today. It's been another interesting day in crypto. I mean, nothing dull has happened in the last 3 weeks. There's always something to talk about here at the moment. If we take a look at what's going on with the IMF, they have warned against banning cryptocurrencies. So they've said it's not an effective long-term strategy to ban cryptocurrencies. Now, they have outlined some of the risks that cryptocurrency brings for the traditional banking system. We can see it's covered advice on safeguarding monetary policy, managing capital flow, incorporating unambiguous crypto tax treatment, establishing legal certainty around digital assets, enforcing prudent oversight, establishing monitoring frameworks across agencies and authorities, monitoring the impact on money systems, and strengthening global cooperation on the matter. So these are the things that are majorly covered in this statement from the IMF. Now, we have heard them say that they do not think banning cryptocurrency is an effective thing to do for the long term. So it was made in a post where they actually promoted central bank digital currencies in Latin America and the Caribbean. So they've said that these regions are at the forefront of digital money adoption because they're looking at this new technology and they're trying to adapt towards it. They're trying to take in this new technology and work with it rather than trying to work against it like we're seeing in the US. So let's take a look at this. The post mentioned that Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, and Ecuador rank highly on the Chainalysis top 20 cryptocurrencies for global crypto asset adoption, stating that crypto investors in these countries seek the benefits that digital assets claim to offer. Now, protection against uncertain domestic macroeconomic conditions, circumvention of capital controls, improved financial inclusion for unbanked populations, cheaper and faster payments, and stronger competition. So at the same time, crypto adoption presents challenges and risks, as we've just ran through. We've run through all of the risks that they have mentioned, but what we can see here is that they're saying instead focus on addressing the drivers of crypto demand, including citizens' unmet digital payment needs, and on improving transparency by recording crypto asset transactions in national statistics. So they're looking at this and going, do you know what? We just can't fight against the technology anymore. The countries and the regions that are adopting this technology and building with it are miles ahead where we are. We've got another really interesting article here, and this is the new US stablecoin bill is a critical moment in the dollar. So we've seen the dollar be the top fiat currency for years and years and years. We've seen this over and over again. Let's just check in with the chat first of all. So they said IMF will not ban. They know the importance of crypto and blockchain technology. I agree with you there. The importance is showing through, and we are seeing a complete U-turn for many of the regulators across the world right now, where they are looking at this technology, realizing it's not going away and trying to work with it instead. We did see Powell say that cryptocurrency has a strong staying power. I feel like that wasn't his quoted words, but he said, look, the cryptocurrency isn't going anywhere, and we all know it isn't. That's what we've been fighting for years. All of us that are in the cryptocurrency space that have spent hours and hours and hours researching the technology and how it can be used to improve different industries know the benefits that it provides, but we're just slowly seeing the rest of the world come to this realization. We are ahead of the game here, and that is why we are in such a beneficial situation right now. We are before the Bitcoin ETFs. We are before the regulators realize that this is a good thing. We are before this technology fully gets adopted. We are right in the most exciting point I've seen in cryptocurrency so far, I think. I'm very excited to see the amount of adoption we're going to see within the next couple of years. Let's check in what's happening in the chat. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, and make sure to tune in every single weekday at around 11 a.m, 12 a.m. BST time. We also have a very exciting giveaway to do at the end of today's stream. So if you've entered that giveaway over on Twitter, make sure to stay tuned until the very end. And if you haven't, we've got some Bitcoin analysis at the end of today's stream anyway. So it's a win-win there. Let's take a look at what's going on in this article, because this is a really interesting article. So the euro dollar, which refers to the offshore US dollar outside the supervision of US banking regulations, emerged in the 1960s. Now we've seen de-dollarization is happening and it's accelerating. We can see the US dollar share of global reserve currencies has shrank in recent years, since back in 2014. A tweet here shows that the Chinese yuan overtakes US dollar as most used currency in China's cross-border transactions for the first time in history. Now that was in April this year. So the yuan share rose to a record high of 48%, up from nearly zero in 2010, and the US share declined to 47%, down from 83%. So we can see there's been a major shift there in China, and we can see that this article suggests for US dollar to remain competitive in the digital era, it needs to support the following. It can have open uses and integration as a native data type on the internet that is programmable, and create a distinction between payment and lending instruments. Now you may be looking at me here and thinking, why is she making these points right now? What we have right now is a stablecoin bill, and this is in July in the US. So this is a pending legislative proposal in Congress aiming to regulate stablecoins. So what can happen here is, back in March when we had USDC depeg, that was because the bank that it held its reserves in was unstable. Now that we have this stablecoin bill in the US, and they're looking at this industry, they're seeing the benefits of the technology. They're saying that we have transactions that have low transaction fees, fast transaction speeds, cross-border payments. They're looking at this technology. We've got this stablecoin bill, and these are all the benefits that they could bring to the US dollar. And this article is saying for the US dollar to survive and hold its status right now, it needs to adopt some of this technology. So what benefits could actually bring if they take on the stablecoin industry, and instead of having stablecoins hold their reserves in banks, they hold them with the Fed. So they cut out that intermediary in that process. There's no risk involved with the banks being unstable at that point. And this is something that I know a lot of people are for and a lot of people are against. A lot of people don't actually want the Fed and the regulators to get involved in cryptocurrency. They just want it to leave it be. It's a transparent, decentralized network that can run on its own. But we are seeing different regions getting involved in the technology in different ways and adapting to it in different ways and taking advantage of it. Now, there's not going to be one cryptocurrency. It's not like they're going to make this US stablecoin and everything else is going to disappear. We still have Bitcoin. We still have all of our projects as well, but they're just adopting this technology as well. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the world of crypto. More exciting things here, I'd like to say. We have Bitcoin ETF talk. Again, very exciting stuff here. Please don't forget, if you haven't already, to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, and let's see what we've got here. So Cameron Winklevoss believes that the recent filings of multiple Bitcoin ETFs with the SEC are the beginning of the great accumulation accumulation of Bitcoin. So he warned that the opportunity to buy cheap Bitcoin is closing fast. We've now seen 5 new applications to the SEC to get a spot Bitcoin ETF. We've so far had 33 rejections in the past. But my question is, I personally am very of the opinion that there's a high probability that BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF will be accepted. And I think they know that will be accepted. So what we can see within the next couple of weeks, if BlackRock's ETF is accepted, we are going to see a huge shortage of Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin will increase if the supply is stable and the demand increases. We are going to see the price increase with that as well. So that's why we're all getting super excited about this Bitcoin ETF news. It kind of came out the blue at perfect timing. We've had the SEC filings against Coinbase, against Binance, and then everything was looking doom and gloom again. And then we saw that BlackRock had filed for a spot Bitcoin ETF. Let's take a look at this article anyway and see what's happening here. I love to go off on a tangent, but we need to stick to the point here today. So the last few weeks in the cryptoverse have been full of ups and downs, as I've just said. The crypto community had digested the back-to-back SEC lawsuits. It was becoming quite stable, and then we saw BlackRock filed for an application with the same regulator for a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, let's point out this is the largest asset management firm in the world. So now we're looking at this and going, what can stop Bitcoin now? I'm feeling a little bit greedy, and I'm looking at the Fear and Greed Index, and it's showing greed. And usually when there's greed there, I like to sell. I like to take some profits off the top, but I am incredibly bullish on this news. So let's take a look at this. So the multiple spot Bitcoin ETF applications with the SEC are why Bitcoin broke the $30,000 price ceiling on Wednesday. We will be doing some Bitcoin analysis at the end of today's stream, so make sure to stay tuned, and I will be answering that question in the live chat there. Somebody's just asked, do you think bull market is back there? We will be discussing that at the end of today's stream. We'll zoom out on today's stream actually, and we'll take a look at the 4-year cycles and see what could be in store for the next couple of months. So let's take a look first at this article and get through the cryptocurrency news, and then we'll get on to that. So we have Mr. Winklevoss pointed out to investors that the window to buy affordable Bitcoin before the ETFs went live was closing fast. So he said the great accumulation of Bitcoin has begun. Anyone watching the flurry of ETF filings understands the window to purchase pre-IPO Bitcoin before ETFs go live and open the floodgates is coming fast. He said, if Bitcoin was the most obvious and best investment in the previous decade, this will likely be the most obvious and best trade of this decade. In a similar commentary on the effects of institutional demand for Bitcoin, Michael Saylor said the window to front-run institutional demand for Bitcoin is closing. We've also heard from Anthony Pompilan. I don't know. I've read that name so many times, but I've never actually had to say it out loud. So he said, what we are going to see is the great accumulation race. We have institutions and individuals scrambling to try to get their share of the 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be in existence. The retail investor for 15 years now has had a head start and has accumulated all the Bitcoin that's been mined and put into circulation. These Bitcoiners don't want to sell to Wall Street, so the only thing that can move when you have a fixed supply asset that is highly illiquid and there is a bunch of demand is the price has to go up. So that is the exciting things we're seeing right now. Somebody said bullish in all crypto. Definitely bullish on crypto right now. The opportunity that we are seeing here is huge. I'm getting very excited on the back of this ETF news. What we are seeing here, like I've just said, is that we have a fixed supply asset. The amount of Bitcoin that gets added into circulation is minuscule. There's only 1.5 million Bitcoin left to be mined and added into circulation. We've already mined a huge percentage of the Bitcoin that can ever be created right now. We have that basically stable supply, and we have that increasing demand about to head into the markets, and when that happens, the only thing that can move is the price, and that is why it's so exciting right now. If you are new around here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. If you are new in crypto, make sure to stay tuned on these live streams every single weekday. And if you have some friends that want to get involved in the space, make sure to share this stream with them. We go through the crypto news every single weekday, talking about what's going on, talking about the impact on the price, and doing some Bitcoin analysis as well. So make sure to stay tuned here. Let's see what else is going on here. We have increased regulation has rekindled consumer interest in crypto. So recent enforcement actions by US regulators have encouraged crypto investors that regulatory clarity will emerge with time. Thus, crypto interest has increased as consumers look forward to protections provided through regulation. So this is probably not what the regulators expected here. Since the regulators have kind of crashed down on cryptocurrency and tried to put it in a cage, consumer interest has increased, according to this study. So the opposite effect to what you would have probably expected. We can see here inflation and banking collapses overshadowed FTX's collapse. We've seen crypto regulation has rekindled interest in crypto. And we can see here that the team have explained, for those who said their interest in crypto has decreased in the past 6 months, data shows increased regulation has taken a more prominent role in rekindling their crypto interest, especially for the crypto curious. Increasing valuations of the currencies themselves are found less motivating in the April study, highlighting the growing importance of consumer protections over gains. So 50% of crypto owners said they have changed how they evaluate crypto providers after last year's crypto failures. And that's something really important. I think a lot of people assumed last year and really through the start of this year that you could hold your, a lot of people said not your keys, not your crypto, don't hold on centralized exchanges, use hardware wallets, use self-custody, but not a lot of us listened. That's being perfectly honest, not a lot of us have listened to that until FTX collapsed. And then a lot of people realized this is important and this is true and this is something we need to spend time on to understand a little bit more. So FTX collapsed. A lot of people learned to move their stuff to hardware wallets, to self-custody wallets. And I think this lesson about Atomic Wallet last week was a really important lesson as well. Not even self-custody wallets are susceptible to problems. We saw less than 1% of Atomic Wallet users lose access to their funds and have their funds drained from their wallets. And that was really a warning sign to us all as well. Obviously, it depends on the size of your portfolio. Moving from centralized exchanges to hardware wallets or self-custody wallets is a big step forwards. And then even taking a bigger step forwards from that, if you have a big portfolio, I would even suggest diversifying across different wallets. I don't use one wallet for my main holdings. I spread it across multiple different wallets just to be on the safe side, because nothing is 100% certain here. And we do have self-custody, so we are in control of our own funds and we have to store it in the safest way possible. So even if your portfolio is not that big, holding your Bitcoin somewhere safe is important, because in the long term, who knows what the price could be. Let's take a look at what's going on here anyway. Let's see what's going on. Jerome said the sluggishness of alts is sad. I know it is a bit sluggish here. We will take a look at that just at the end of today's stream. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news though. We need to see what's going on. Coinbase study says more than half of Fortune 100 companies investing in blockchain. So as well as retail, what was the story here? Consumers' interest has increased in the last couple of weeks. We've also seen more than half of Fortune 100 companies investing in blockchain. The block revealed that 52% of the Fortune 100 have been working on blockchain, crypto, or Web3 projects since 2020. So very interesting news there. Yes, we can get an update on what's going on in the chat there. I will come back to that in just a second. Let's see what else is going on here. We know we are seeing adoption in the space, and we are seeing that more and more and more as time goes on. Let's take a look at the next article here. The SEC has no evidence that Binance.us commingled customer funds. So basically what's happened here, let's make sure that we're all set up correctly on this stream, because I'm getting distracted by all of these things popping up right now. What's happened here is the SEC filed sued Binance.us, and then they wanted to freeze Binance.us's funds, and then they came to some sort of agreement where they didn't actually have to freeze the funds. And then after that agreement, literally hours later, the SEC made a statement that made out that that Binance were misusing and misleading. The SEC made misleading statements against the exchange. So let's see what they said in this statement here. They said, currently the assets are not going offshore. No, this is Binance.us's statement. Where's the SEC statement? Let's get this right. Basically, what happened is the SEC said a statement that said, In the court filing, Binance attorneys pointed to conversations between the judge and SEC attorneys on whether there is evidence confirming that Binance US misused, dissipated, or commingled assets. After previously avoiding providing concrete answers to the questions, the attorneys later admitted to having no evidence. So Binance.us have said, so currently the assets are not going offshore. We're not seeing any flows of money outside of the US from the attorneys there. And we also have seen, given that CZ and Binance have control of the platform's customer assets and have been able to commingle customer assets or divert customer assets as they please. As we have alleged, these prohibitions are essential to protecting investor assets. So the SEC are going around saying that statement, even though they can't prove any of this is true. So at the SEC, Binance have gone back to the courts and asked them to ensure that the SEC act in the correct manner. We will keep up to date on that story. And what I want to talk about here, which has thrown me off completely, is that somebody's asking in the chat, what's happening with JP Morgan's situation? So we do know here that JP Morgan, let's get this right, have been fined after 47 million banking records were accidentally deleted. Now we've got accidentally there. Very interesting news here. Just a little tap on the wrist for JP Morgan. Just don't do that one again. It's interesting how different companies get treated. Let's see what else is going on here in the world of crypto, though. We've got more crypto news here first. Let's see what's going on. Binance under scrutiny in Brazil after alleged pyramid scheme operations. So Binance is under threat again. A lot of regulators are going after them right now. I need a sip of my coffee. My words aren't coming up. Let's see what's going on here. Binance under scrutiny in Brazil for alleged pyramid scheme operations. Before we get into this article, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. And if you are new here, please don't forget to tune in every single weekday. We do these live streams between 11 and 12 a.m. BST time. So what's happening here is Binance Brazil has said it has helped the federal police investigate several firms accused of operating pyramid schemes. The world's largest crypto exchange, Binance, is under scrutiny in Brazil for allegedly facilitating pyramid schemes on its platform, and they have now been investigated for pyramid schemes. So according to Portal do Bitcoin, they've submitted the proposal to the CPI on Wednesday, and other members of the commission would vote on the request during the next meeting scheduled for 27th of June. In the proposal, Gasper mentioned that Binance is currently facing regulatory issues with the US, UK, Germany, China, and Japanese agencies. The lawmaker also pointed out that the CVM, Brazil's securities regulator, is investigating the crypto exchange for allegedly offering unauthorized derivatives products. So they've said, we can deduce that Binance is entirely intertwined with the motivation of the CPI, and it is essential to understand its performance in the country, its relationship with fintech, as well as its connection with companies that respond in court for harming consumers, Brazilians. So Binance says it's helped authorities, but we can see more about that in that article. If you are interested in this article, let's put on the link here. We've got more interesting stories to bring up today, so I want to get onto those ones. But I want to talk about the price of Bitcoin, see what's going on there. Let's take a look at this next article first and see what's going on. Let's make sure the stream is all running correctly. Let me know if there are any problems here. Please don't forget, if you haven't already, to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Currently, we have 21 viewers, 26 likes. Please, let's try and get to 30 likes on today's stream. Actually, that's not high enough. Let's try and get to 35 likes on today's live stream. Let's see what else is going on here. Crypto custodian BitGo terminates Prime Trust acquisition. So BitGo said it made efforts to find a path forward with Prime Trust, all to no avail. So they have stepped back from that decision. The crypto custodian has said, after considerable effort and work to find a path forward with Prime Trust, BitGo has made the hard decision to terminate its acquisition of Prime Trust. This decision was not made lightly, and BitGo remains committed to our mission to deliver trust in digital assets. So BitGo cancels Prime Trust acquisition there. If you are interested in that, make sure to go to cryptosavingexpert.com. I will also drop the link to this in the live chat there over on YouTube. If you are watching us over on Twitter, make sure to head over to our YouTube channel at Crypto Saving Expert. Let's see what else is going on here today. The chat is very active today. I love when the chat is active. So Ripple receives provisional payments license in Singapore. Give us a like if you're an XRP fan. Lots of news coming out about Ripple at the moment, and lots of expectations that this lawsuit is about to come to an end. Interestingly, we will have to see what's coming with this. We have also, from a story before that I did not mention, we did see that Binance are fighting back against the SEC. They've basically made a statement that they're not going to step down from this battle too quickly. So there is a bit of a conclusion right now, of a speculated conclusion, that we could see this lawsuit between the SEC and Binance last for quite a while here. But let's go back to this article here. So we are talking about Ripple. The provisional regulatory approval will allow Ripple to extend customers' use of XRP in the city-state. So leading blockchain cross-chain provider the words that I'm reading are not the words that I'm saying here. Lending blockchain cross-border payments firm Ripple has received in principle approval of the major payments institution license from the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the country's central bank and regulator. So Ripple receives approval in Singapore. The approval will allow the company to extend customers' use of its on-demand liquidity service that uses the XRP token to facilitate cross-border payments. Ripple stated that its APA cross-border payment solution serving regional clients experienced outstanding growth last year, and the company added that its operations in Singapore strengthened internally as it doubled its workforce to support growing demand in the region. So Ripple praises MAS's regulatory approach to crypto, as we should all. Any regulators that are opening the door to cryptocurrency and allowing the industry to strive are regulators we can praise here. Let's see what else is going on now. We are going to get onto the price of Bitcoin now and talk a little bit more. Somebody says in the chat, learn a lot from you. Thank you very much for tuning in here every single day. Jerome says, poke the like button. Yes, please. If you have not already, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. We are currently on 30 likes for today's stream. Let's try and get to 35. One of these days, we're going to hit 50 on the stream. That will be a great day. Let's see what's going on here. We have Bitcoin traders bag $537 million in profit as price crosses $30,000. So Bitcoin's price has soared in the last couple of days off the back of the BlackRock ETF and the numerous other spot Bitcoin ETFs being filed with the SEC as well. Off the back of that, traders have actually realized a profit of $537 million. So that's a huge number there. Let's see what's going on here. Somebody says in the chat, you're a genius. Thanks. That's a compliment I'd like more often. Let's see what else is happening here. Mike says, if the SEC suit ends in favor of Ripple, I'm definitely sure about a tremendous upside for XRP. Yes, it will be very interesting if we see the Ripple win this lawsuit against the SEC, which a lot of people are anticipating at this point in time. It could cause a nice move to the upside for XRP, something a lot of people have been waiting a long time for. I remember when this lawsuit first started, and it's been so many years now. I mean, I first invested in XRP before this even happened, and then the lawsuit began. I invested in XRP with quite a big portion of my portfolio. For about 2 months, it didn't move. And then I decided that I needed to use those funds elsewhere. I wanted to make as much money as possible, as quick as possible. And I realized that it was going to be a long-term play. And with this money, I wanted to do some short-term plays. So I moved it out into something else. Day after, 3x on XRP. I was absolutely livid. So then now when I invest in XRP, it just feels a little bit painful. It's one of those that have burnt me in the past. It's always the way. The same with Cardano for me. Cardano was the first cryptocurrency that I ever invested in. When it was down at like 3 cents, it was down at 6 cents, and I sold it at 4 cents. That was my first ever trade. And then after that, I sold it at 4 cents, and obviously you saw what happened in the last bull market. So that was a huge loss for me. Thankfully, I managed to get back in around 25 cents in that bull market, but that was a painful buy. Sometimes you have to buy into things when you know you could have done it sooner and you could have done it better, but this is what happens in cryptocurrency. We learn harsh lessons all of the time. Let's see what's going on here in the chat. Simple Fun says, nice to be here once again. Asham says, keep it up. Thank you very much to everybody who is tuning tuning in and listening to my waffle right now. Let's get back to the cryptocurrency news here. I'm getting distracted once again. Please don't forget, if you haven't already, to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, and if you are tuned in from Twitter, make sure to come over to our YouTube channel at Crypto Saving Expert and give us a like and give us a follow so you don't miss these daily updates. We also will be talking about the price of Bitcoin at the end of today's stream, and we'll be taking a look at that CME gap that is going to open tonight as well. So let's see what's going on here. Bitcoin trades at $500 discount on Binance US. Now, Binance US just cannot seem to get Bitcoin's price right now. So what happens, obviously, there is a lack of liquidity on the Binance US exchange right now. We saw a flash it's not a flash crash, it's a flash pump. Is that the technical term? The opposite to a flash crash, a flash pump, potentially. We did see the price rise all the way to $138,000, if I do remember that right. We did report that on Crypto Saving Expert if you want more information on that. We saw the price of Bitcoin absolutely soar for a split second on Binance US yesterday or the day before. And that was because of the lack of liquidity. And now we are seeing Bitcoin trade at a $500 discount on Binance US because of this lack of liquidity. So what's happening here is the SEC filing and suing Binance US has caused a lot of fear in the markets. Market makers have moved off the exchange. We've seen banking partners say they don't want to work with the company anymore. And a lot of cryptocurrency users are getting scared from this and choosing to leave the exchange and go to some of its competitors, giving Coinbase a massive opportunity in the US as a small side note. But what we can see here is that now Bitcoin is trading at $500 less. This could be a nice arbitrage opportunity for those that are interested in these strategies. A lot of people see arbitrage opportunities like this. And what you can do, obviously none of this is financial advice, this is not me suggesting you to do it, but when we see discrepancies in the price, arbitrage traders do sometimes step in, and what they do, I should say, is they buy Bitcoin on this exchange, Binance US, send it to a competitor like Coinbase, sell it for a $500 profit, send it back to Binance, and repeat and repeat and repeat. That is, in fact, how SBF made all of his money before he created FTX. So he did it across different regions because the prices in two different countries of the price of Bitcoin in two different countries was hugely different, wildly different. In fact, there was a discrepancy of like 50%. You could make a 2x gain every time you completed that circuit. So that's how SBF made all of his money there. But let's take a look at the next article here. Let's see what's going on. So MicroStrategy becomes profitable on Bitcoin bet as Bitcoin surges past $30,000. Just give me 1 second so we make sure everything is running smoothly. Sorry, I just had to send a message there. So we have MicroStrategy becomes profitable on Bitcoin bet as BTC surges past $30,000. So what's happened here is MicroStrategy have been investing in Bitcoin. I mean, through the turbulent times, they're investing at the highs of the previous bull market, and they've been investing during the lows of this bear market right now. We can see here on this chart, this is a really nice chart actually from Crypto Slate. What we can see here is every time they've invested in Bitcoin, so they invested down at the end of 2020 when Bitcoin was just at around $12,000, and since then they've increased their holdings. They did buy all the way up at just below $60,000, continue to buy throughout the whole bull market, throughout every pullback, and then continue to buy during the depth of the bear market. Now, at the time of them writing this article, Bitcoin was at 30,245. For us right now, it's 30,107. We can see here that MicroStrategy's dollar cost averaging strategy has just hit profitable, a profitable strategy, we should say. So let's see, do we have the average price of MicroStrategy's investments in here? The average purchase price for MicroStrategy is $29,803. Now, this is the first time the price has surpassed that level in the last 2 months. And before that, it was a pretty long time. Now, Michael Saylor surely know, Mike Bain says MicroStrategy and Mike Saylor surely know a lot we don't. Now, I actually just think MicroStrategy is just seeing the potential in this asset and absolutely ran for it. He understands the potential of what it can bring, and he's decided to go full force with that. And in my opinion, it could be it could be one of the most successful people in the world in a couple of years' time. It could be absolutely insane. So he has made a huge amount of money off that, and they've just gone profitable again. I mean, with the amount of Bitcoin they hold, so we have the amount of Bitcoin they hold here, around 140,000 Bitcoin has been acquired by the company. So that is a price of $4.17 billion with an average purchase price of $29,803. With those numbers, when we see Bitcoin, even if Bitcoin just reaches its new all-time high, that is a huge, huge profit there. And when we look back at that price at $29,800, it will seem pretty small. I mean, and remember at the peak of the last bull market, $30,000 felt like it would be the worst thing that could possibly happen. Little did we know we were going to come down to $16,000. But by the time at the end of the next bull market has arrived, $30,000 will sound like an amazing buy opportunity, in my opinion. So let's get on with the price of Bitcoin now and see what's going on here. See if we have any exciting levels of support and resistance. Actually, before we do, we've got a giveaway to do today. So please don't forget, if you are new here, to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. And we do these live streams every single weekday. So make sure to tune in every single day to stay up to date with the latest cryptocurrency news and to stay up to date with what's going on in the markets. If you are new around here or you have any friends new to crypto, share the link with them. We want to spread the word about crypto and help drive cryptocurrency adoption here. But let's do a giveaway now. So over on Twitter, we do giveaways quite often. And we have been doing some giveaways over on these live streams for the last couple of weeks as well. So what's going to happen now is I've picked a winner for this giveaway that was on Twitter. And the person that I announce has 24 hours to claim that prize. If they do not claim that prize within 24 hours, the money gets put into the prize pool and the prize pool gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is the third time we've done this week. Interesting announcement. Last week's winner did not claim their prize. So instead of this week's giveaway being $100, it is now $200. Very exciting one here. Let's pull up the tweet anyway. Let's see if we've got the tweet in this chat somewhere. I've got it here with somebody from Crypto Saving Expert, and I can see the winner. I'm very excited to announce this one. So here's the tweet from Crypto Saving Expert. If you don't already follow us over on there, give us a follow so you can enter all of these giveaways that we do all of the time. So the winner will be announced on Friday. This is the tweet here. And the winner is, I can announce, it is, drum roll please, I need a drum roll noise thing, the Melissa De Vera, so let me write this on the screen, let's pull this up and put this on the screen. So congratulations to Melissa De Vera, that is your handle over on Twitter. If you are following today, you have just won $200. If you are not following along and you do not claim the prize within the next 24 hours, those $200 will go back into the prize pool, and next week's winner will win $300. So that's how it's working here. You have 24 hours to claim your prize. If not, everybody else, get excited to win next week's giveaway because the prize pool is just growing and growing and growing at this point. Let's see what else is going on in the price of Bitcoin though. Let's do some Bitcoin analysis. Before we do, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. I need to take a breath and I need to take a sip of my coffee and then we'll be ready to go again. So let's see what's going on here. Let's take a look at what's happening. So Bitcoin is at $30,112. We are on 33 likes today's stream, by the way. Let's try and get that to 40. Let's raise the goalpost once again. So what we have here is Bitcoin has been in a descending wedge for quite a while now, and we've all seen this descending wedge over and over again, but I'll show you it one more time. We had that level of resistance there. We had this level of support here, which had actually been used as a resistance in the past. What we can see here is that if we take this level of resistance from up here, this is the level that is holding pretty strong right now. That's the $31,000 level. We also can take the bodies from these daily candles and show that's acting as a resistance right now too. So we have between $30,450 to $31,000 as a level of resistance here. Now, if we take a look, one of my most profitable trading strategies, this is a really interesting one this here, and I don't think I've spoke about this for a very long time. During the previous bull market, when we were in an uptrend and we were seeing some pullbacks, I had a very, very profitable trading strategy, and I'm very excited to be able to use this strategy again now that we're hopefully going to continue to see these uptrends. What we see is we have these descending wedges. Now, obviously for Bitcoin, we have moved in a straight line here, but typically what I used to do during the bull market and during all of these nice upswings, if you have a descending wedge and you take the resistance from each of those lower highs, sometimes the prices we want to see, what we ideally want to see here is we come out of this wedge, we use that level as of previous resistance as a support. Unfortunately, we did not see that with Bitcoin, but we've got bigger fish to fry. We've got more important things to do, which is to moon. So we can see here that we've shot through that level of resistance. We've come up to this one and we've used that previous level of resistance as a support. We've now retesting this level to see if we can break through it. And what I'd like to see right now is we manage to break through this and use that as a support once again. But one of my most profitable trading strategies in the last bull market was every time I saw a strategy like this, I would take profits at every single one of these levels of resistance. And typically what we would see is we'd break through it and then we'd test it to make sure it could be used as a support. And each one of those previous levels of resistance from that descending wedge seemed to act like a ladder for Bitcoin and we for the asset or whatever altcoin I was trading. We just seemed to step up and up and up on those levels. So I'm very excited to have more descending wedges and positive uptrends with a high likelihood of continuing to go into an uptrend within the next bull market there. Anyway, let's continue on with what's going on in the bigger time frames. Somebody said they want to know if we're in a bull market right now. So let's discuss that. Let's zoom right out. Let's go to BTC USD on the Bitstamp chart. Let me have a sip of my coffee again. My throat is very dry this morning. 777 said coffee is a great idea. BRB. No, you can't leave the live stream for coffee. You've got to wait until the end of today's stream. If you've got one before, perfect. Make sure you've got one at 11 a.m. BST time on Monday, and then you can sip your coffee while you watch. You can't leave the stream to make coffee. Let's see what's going on here. So let's get the indicators on now. So we want Bitcoin halving indicators. If I could spell Bitcoin right, that would be a start. So let's go here to this events indicator there. If any of you wonder how I look at this. So we have a Bitcoin halving in 308 days. And I think that's what I tweeted this morning. Let's take a look at April 2024. That is when it's expected to be. So what we can see here is typically after we have a Bitcoin halving, we see a nice move to the upside. And that is what is highly anticipated to happen this time around as well, with a huge bullish price target. We will talk about that another day. I feel like I'm being super bullish today, and I need to rein it in a little bit. But what we can see here is prior to the Bitcoin halvings as well, we usually start to see that nice tick to the upside as well. It's not just the Bitcoin halving and the downtrend turns into an uptrend. There is some exciting months to come prior to April. So let's take a look at that. You can see on the first halving from, let's see what this time range is, for 54 bars, so 378 days, we did see upwards movement prior to that Bitcoin halving. Now let's take a look at this one. If we take from here to here, you can see that for around this point, we were all at the lowest point. So when we really started to see that move to the upside was around 330 days. Now you can see here on this next one, obviously we had the COVID crash at this point here, so this has kind of got a bit tainted, something that we probably, fingers crossed, we'll never see again. So we can take it from this point here and take a look at this. 470 days prior to the Bitcoin halving, we did see a nice run to the upside, excluding that data there. And how many days before the halving are we now? 308. So if we look at all that data we have just seen, we can expect that if the history is going to repeat itself, not repeat itself, but rhyme, we should say, that the next couple of months shouldn't be all that bad. I am definitely personally in the camp that we are not going to see new lows. I've been saying that for quite a long time now, and this Bitcoin ETF has just made me even more confident in that. Imagine if this Bitcoin ETF gets denied. We all need to be aware that that is a possibility. We're all getting very excited about it now. It's a very exciting thing. My personal opinion is there is a high probability that the ETF from BlackRock will be accepted, but there is a possibility that it is not. So we do need to look at the bigger picture there. If we do continue upwards, if we take a look from the low here to the Bitcoin halving, we would have been in an uptrend for 510 days, so that is longer than the previous times. But is it that BlackRock are trying to front run this next Bitcoin halving? That's the things we need to consider here. We are we've been in these cycles for a while now. Us investors, us retail investors, are not the only ones that have realized how this works. Big institutions have realized this as well. Everybody realizes that these 4-year cycles are here, and they want to take advantage of that before the next one completely explodes. Let's take a look now at the BTC CME chart and see what's going on there. So if you want to take a look at the CME chart, just go over to TradingView and choose BTC1 exclamation mark, and you'll come up with the Bitcoin futures here. If you are new to the stream, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We are currently on 38 likes for today's stream. Let's try and get that up to 40. What we can see here right now is that we have a CME gap down at $28,300. We also have one up at $35,250, acting like magnets for the Bitcoin price there. So this is the CME chart. And this means that's from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. That's an exchange that is operational Monday to Friday. When it closes on a Friday, the chart just stops. It just freezes. And then on a Monday, it just starts again from wherever it's opened on the price the price of Bitcoin is on that Monday morning. So what happens there is because they just decide to shut down work, we have that gap in the market from the weekend. And that gap acts like a magnet for the Bitcoin price. So let's take a look at previous examples. You can see we have a gap here from back in February in 2022. Immediately, it was closed the following week. You can see we have a gap here from February 2022. That was closed just weeks later. Another gap here, closed within the following week. Another gap here, closed within the following week. Typically, these gaps are closed within the following week. And in terms of probability, there's a high probability that these gaps do close within the couple of days after it is opened. And a lot of traders actually take advantage of that probability and trade these gaps. So if the CME gap is higher than the opening price on the Monday, they will long. And if the CME gap is lower than the opening price on Monday, then they will short. And that is proven to be a profitable strategy because the probability of a CME gap closing is high. But sometimes it's not always the case. Sometimes we do see these CME gaps being left open for a longer time period. We had this one back down here at $20,000. I mean, this one was funny. So we had this one down here at $20,000 in January 2023. We were all looking at the price of Bitcoin up at $25,000, and we were saying, look, we've still got that CME gap down at $20,000. We do need to be careful about that. We then came down, closed the CME gap. We all thought, brilliant. Sorry, I should explain. To close the CME gap, what you need to do is see price action following the gap within that price range. So we came down and we closed that CME gap in March, and we all thought, brilliant, that one's closed. We can now move on to higher highs and see some big success. And then that same weekend, we opened another CME gap down at $20,000. So it wasn't meant to be that time. So we do still have that one at $20,000 to be aware of. We also do have that one at $35,000 though, that I would like to be more aware of, because that is acting like a magnet right now, as well as the spot Bitcoin ETFs, and as well as looking at that head and shoulders pattern. Let's take a look at this. So let's take a look here. If we take the horizontal line and we see what's happened here, we've been using this $25,250 level as a resistance for a pretty long time now. We have now confirmed that that is acting as a support, which is incredibly positive. It's been acting as a support in the past. So what we are seeing here is this a inverse head and shoulders pattern, and if it is, we have a very nice price target. So if we take the distance between the head and the neckline and we put it to the point of breakout, you can see we have a tight price. I mean, that one's a bit too high there. I think the actual price target is around $38,000 for this. When I was sitting and doing it all properly. So that is the exciting news we've got for the day, and obviously that will close that CME gap as well. We do need to be careful before that though. As I mentioned at the start of today's stream, if we go back to the Bitcoin USDT chart, you can see that we have some level of resistance from back here. If we take these points here, you can see $32,500, and all of these levels within this level, to be honest, at that $31,000 level as well, is going to act like a level of resistance along the way if we do continue to the upside. Now we are on 39 likes for today's stream. Can somebody please make that 40, and then we'll shut off today's stream. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have all enjoyed, and then we'll be back here on Monday with more cryptocurrency news, so make sure to tune in then, and I will